Hello, everyone, and welcome to Schwab Coaching. My name is Cameron May, and this is Getting Started with Thinkorswim. And learning how to trade can carry all sorts of expensive lessons, but does it have to? Well, today we're going to be talking about how a trader might do something called paper trading of stocks and options on Thinkorswim paperMoney, just to learn the ins and outs of trading before they actually put any real skin in the game. Looking very much forward to it. Before we get to that, though, let me say hello to everybody that's chatting in already. Great to see Krishna and Jody, Speak Truth, Eva, Scott, Robert, Bob, everybody else. Thanks for joining us week after week. We always appreciate your attendance and your contributions here in these discussions. If you are here for the very first time, I want to welcome you as well. And if you're watching on the YouTube archive after the fact, enjoy the show. But be aware that you're invited to join us in the live discussion. It does kick off promptly 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Mondays. And as a very good, as a final heads up, my very good friend, Ken Rose, is hanging out in the chats with us. He's going to be answering any questions that are on topic for the discussion that I can't get to. Thanks for being there, Ken. Ken and I would also like to issue an invitation to you. If you're not following us on X, please do that. At Ken Rose CS, at Cameron May CS is my Twitter handle. And if you reply to me on one of my posts on X, I try to reply right back to you. It's the best place to connect with me in between these live streams. All right. Now, we also need to bear in mind the risk associated with investing and trading. Certainly needs to be considered. The information here is for general informational purposes only. It should not be considered an individualized recommendation or endorsement of a particular security, chart pattern, investment strategy. Options carry a high level of risk and are not suitable for all investors. Schwab does not recommend the use of technical analysis as a sole means of investment research, and investing involves risks, including the loss of principal. All right, so with that said, let's set just a quick agenda for today's discussion for this video. Yes, learning how to trade can carry all sorts of risks, but we don't have to do it with our real money. Thinkorswim actually provides a platform for practice trading, also known as paper trading, and it's called paperMoney. So I want to take us through how to download paperMoney, how to maybe set up a trade for a stock position and for an options position, even walk through the monitoring and exiting of those positions, all in one 20, 25-minute presentation. That's a lot to get through. I think we can do it, though. So let's go, first of all, discuss how to download the software. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, Thinkorswim can be downloaded from within your Schwab.com account. You just go right to the Trade tab, and you'll see a link there. For trading platforms, you'll click on Thinkorswim. You can also go to Thinkorswim.com. In either case, once you've downloaded the software, you'll have access to trading your live accounts, but also practice trading through what's called paperMoney. And there is no need to create a unique user ID or password for Thinkorswim. You just use your Schwab.com login, and you're off and running. Okay, so once you've downloaded that, you'll log in and you'll see something very much like this. So this is the Thinkorswim trading platform. Off to the left, you'll notice this is my example paperMoney, and right up in the upper left here are some reassuring words: simulated trading environment. This is a no-risk environment, but it does behave very much like, not precisely identically to the real live Thinkorswim trading platform, but really, really very closely to that. Now, this is already pre-funded with about $200,000, actually exactly $200,000 of play money. Now, play money means that we get to practice our trading with it. Now, this account has already been, it's already in use, so you're not going to see exactly a balance of $200,000 here. But I'll also note for you that that's divided between two account types. There are some watching this video who are going to have a margin account. There are others who are going to have an IRA account. They're going to have both. Well, regardless of what types of accounts one has, we do have practice accounts right up here at the top, and you can navigate between the two. We can look at all of our accounts combined. We can go to just the margin account or just the IRA account. So I'm going to start things off with our IRA account. And let's go build a trade scenario. All right. Let's suppose that one is sort of technically inclined and one uses, let's say, charts for the planning of a stock trade. So I'm going to go to the charts tab in the Thinkorswim platform, and let's enter an example symbol. Now you can just type in the name of the company if you don't know the symbol, and it'll start to propose what the symbol might be, but I'm just going to type in T for AT&T. All right. And thank you, Eva and Robert, for confirming the audio is good. Joe, maybe there's something you need to address on your end. But you'll notice as I bring up this chart of AT&T, there are already some lines drawn here just to illustrate what our hypothetical investor might be looking at this moment. Okay. Now, this is not to suggest that we should all be trading AT&T. It's just an example scenario. So let's say that our hypothetical investor out there wanting to practice their trading has noted that over the last 6 months or so, AT&T has had a bit of a tendency to run up and then pull back. It runs up and it pulls back. It runs up and then it pulls back. And each of those advances seems to be approximately the same. Does that mean it's going to do exactly the same thing again? No, not necessarily. But we're off to a pretty good start in today's trading. And let's say that our investor thinks, you know what, maybe what I want to do is just practice. Let's see if I can buy some shares of AT&T and see if this will make a similar run to previous runs, maybe going up to about $18. Right? That's not the only reason or the only way that a trader might make a plan for placing a trade. This is not that discussion. If you want to learn more about charting, you can actually, and I'll show you how to do this later, but I do have a webcast series on Tuesdays. It's called Getting Started with Technical Analysis, and technical analysis is all about charting stocks, okay? But let's say that's the plan for our hypothetical trader. Okay, well now how do they execute the plan? How do they go place that stock trade? Well, they have some play money, some practice money already in Thinkorswim. We've selected our account. We could redirect this to the margin account if we wanted to at this step, but let's just keep it in the IRA, and we're just going to go right to trade. Yep, we want to place a trade. We're going to go to trade, and then we're also going to make sure that the correct symbol is here. So if there wasn't anything here, it'd just be a big blank screen. Let's type in our symbol, T for AT&T. And then to place the trade, Thinkorswim is actually designed, and there's even faster ways to do this, but I'm just going to show one way to place a trade. They've designed the platform with really speed in mind. So if we want to buy a stock, we could actually create an essentially complete buy order with a single click. And to do that, we just come right down here. And if you notice on this trade tab, we have a bid price and an ask price. And typically, buyers pay at or near the ask price, sellers receive at or near the bid price. So to create our buy order, I just point at that ask price, just below the word ask, and click. And that now creates a buy order down below. Now, for just a moment, I'm actually going to hide this left display area. We don't need to see that. So I'm going to click the little toggle here to just collapse that. If I want to bring it back, I can click that little toggle again, the little arrow, and it just expands that field again. But right down here at the bottom is now a buy order for, by default, 100 shares of stock. So we could just actually confirm and send this order, and it actually is a complete order. But if we want to tailor this order to the trader's preferences, they can do that right away. So stock, buy order. Let's say we just wanted to buy 25 shares. We can just erase what's in that field and enter our preferred quantity. Now, if instead we wanted to buy 200 shares or 300 shares or 400 shares in round lots, we could use the plus button right here, and that would go up in round lots or down in round lots. Now, off to the right, as we move off to the right, we can see, yep, this is a trade for AT&T. It's a stock. We can also set the conditions for our buy order. You know, we could enter what's known as a limit order, which means I want to buy the stock, but I have a limit in mind for how much I'm willing to pay. And we can just set that here. Let's say we didn't want to pay more than $17 for our stock. That's our limit. Well, if the shares are available subsequent to submitting this order at or below $17, then we may pay $17 or less. If it's not available at $17, we may not fill the order. That's one of the risks of placing a limit order. Or we might just create what's known as a market order. That's what we're going to do for today's example. A market order just means I'm willing to pay whatever the market price is. Let's get into this trade. So believe it or not, that's the whole process for creating a stock order. Let's click confirm and send. And what this is going to do is give us what's called the order confirmation dialog box. It's a bit of a mouthful. It just means this is a screen that allows us to review one last time before we make our commitment. Let's make sure that this is really what we want to do. Buying 25 shares of AT&T at the market price. Looks like that would cost approximately 425.62 at current prices. There's not a commission on this trade, but that's where that would be displayed at this point. And there's a reminder down here. If there are important reminders when entering orders, they'll be down at the bottom. And it says, in this case, with market orders, which is what we're doing, prices can change quickly in fast market conditions, resulting in execution prices that can be different from the quotes displayed at order entry. What that means is, even if the price is around 17 bucks, it doesn't mean we're getting exactly $17 or $17.01. If the price moves, we may pay more. If it drops, we may pay less. Let's send that order. And if we look up here, we now just bought 25 shares of AT&T. That really is the process for, well, yep, we could plan the trade, place the trade. Now, how do we monitor the progress of that position? Well, if we want to monitor that progress, we'll go over to the Monitor tab. And as I click on that Monitor page, you'll see other positions that we placed in previous webcasts down below. But right here is our AT&T position. And there are a few things I want to point out here. Number one is that if we go to the quantity field, it'll show us how many shares we bought. And if we click on that, it'll also show us the details of the original order. So we bought 25 shares for $17.02. Then we can do a quick comparison as we move over to the Mark field. Mark on Thinkorswim means market price. So we bought it for $17.02. It's now trading at $17.01 and a half, $17.02-ish. So we're neither making or losing money at this point, right? You can see the mark change tells us how much it's risen or fallen today since yesterday. Obviously, we just bought the thing today, so we might be at this point more interested in the price that we paid versus the current market price. But there are also a couple of other columns that a new user of Thinkorswim might want to be familiar with. That is the PL open and the PL day. PL day, yeah, you might have already guessed this. P stands for profit, L stands for loss. And this is just the time frame that's being used to calculate the profit or loss. So our first column is how much have we made or lost today? Well, we're at break even because the market price is at $17.02. And we're basically, yeah, you can see the PL day right at break even, right? Switching between maybe zero and a few pennies. Now, to the left here is the PL open. In other words, how much we made since we opened a position. Well, these are going to be the same on the first day. After that, we might see different numbers. For example, Amazon. If we click on the Amazon quantity, it shows us we bought this back in November and we paid $140.73. The market price of Amazon is $172, so we're up about 32 bucks per share, which is about a $3,200 profit, roughly. But we've slipped a little bit on that profit today. So yeah, down a little bit today, but overall doing well on that position. All right, so that's how we might go use the charts to plan a trade. We place the trade, we monitor a trade. Let's say we now want to take some profits on a trade. How do we sell a stock? Well, there's a stock in this portfolio, NVIDIA, that's actually had a really nice run. It's up $7,300 on just 30 shares. And if we were to go to our charts and look at NVDA, the symbol, you can see here, I just drew this oval. It doesn't appear automatically. I drew that oval myself. But that's just to give you a visual reference point for when this trade was taken on November 13th. And you can see what NVIDIA has done since that day. It's been running up, maybe getting a little bit of a red candle today. Maybe our investor thinks, I've made plenty of money on this. Let's get out. Well, in this case, we could go back to the Monitor tab. There's our NVIDIA position. We can actually place trades. We could place this trade right on the Trade tab. I'm going to show you a different way. To exit an existing position, we can actually just go right to the position, right-click on that, and create a closing order. And we can sell right from there. So let's sell our 30 NVIDIA. And here we could choose the type of sell order we like. We could choose a limit order if we want to sell, for at least a certain amount. That's my limit. I don't want to sell for anything less. Or we could choose a market order, which is to sell at current market prices. I'll just sell, whatever it takes, get me out. I'll just settle for whatever the market value is at the moment my order gets to the front of the line. Believe it or not, just with that right click and selecting to sell, that has created a complete sell order, the correct quantity, correct stock, We just change the order, and we're ready to confirm and send again. Now, obviously, there are lots of other functionalities within Thinkorswim that we're not going to cover in a 20 or 25-minute video, and that's why I would suggest that you keep, maybe an eye on this webcast series to get you more acquainted with Thinkorswim as we go. But there we've discussed, in this case, I'm not going to actually exit that trade. That's from a different webcast series. I want to keep following up on it in that series. So I'm just going to delete this order. And that's no harm, no foul. So that's it for a stock trade. Well, let's say our trader instead wants to place an option trade. Maybe they've gone to a chart. Let's say they're looking at a company like J&J. Maybe their analysis is the stock has been rising up and pulling back and rising up and pulling back. Maybe it's come down to what they think is a price floor. And maybe they think they're going to rise back up to the previous price ceiling, $163 as a possible example, right? Well, let's say they want to leverage that. And some of you don't know what options are. That's okay. This is not an options webcast. It's just to show those who are options traders how to get those trades in place on Thinkorswim, how to start to gather experience on this Thinkorswim platform, whether this strategy is buying calls or it's vertical spreads or iron condors or whatever. So to place our trade, we go back to the trade tab. We make sure that we're looking at the right stock. So if it's not, let's say we were back on AT&T still, well, we come up here and type in our symbol, J&J, and then we can come down to our option chain. For you options traders, this is going to be familiar territory. These are the available options for J&J. And let's say we wanted to buy a contract for the next 32 days. To place that order, we just click on that expiration. So these are the contracts for trading calls or puts on J&J. And with the stock at, basically 157.69, let's say we buy the 155 call, the at the money-ish call. This is actually a little bit in the money. Let's click on the ask price again. So whether stocks or options, to buy something, we click on the ask price, and that creates that buy order. By default, in my portfolio, it's going to be one contract. That can be changed by erasing what's in there and entering the number manually, or we can just click the up and down arrows. Let's leave that at one contract. And how about for this one? We also select a market order. We could choose limit orders, but let's do a market order here. Leave our time in force, good, just good for the day. That order is ready to go. Let's click confirm and send here. This is to buy one J&J 15th of March 155 call at the market price. Infinite profit potential on a long call. The amount that we invest is the amount that we can lose on the long call theoretically, and there is a commission on this trade. So maybe at a price of $4, we might be paying $400.65. Let's send that order off. And we just bought that long call. Now, where do you think we're going to go to keep an eye on the progress of that call? Yep, we go back to the monitor tab. There's our J&J position. In this case, we need to, for options, we just click on the stock symbol, and that'll show us the details of the options. We have one contract. There are the contract details, 32 days till expiration. There's how much we paid for it, and we can click on that, and it'll also show us how much we paid for it. And then again, if we've decided, you know what, it's time to be done with this, maybe we're taking profits or we're taking losses, right-click again and create a closing order. And let's sell that call. That takes us right back to our trade tab. It has the correct quantity, it has the correct expiration, the correct strike price, the correct side. We can choose limit or market order from here and confirm and send that order. So guys, in just 20 minutes, that really is how a first-time user of Thinkorswim can get right in and start getting some practice with no risk. You notice my heartbeat didn't go up one tick as we're placing these trades. It can be exciting, but we're in a simulated trading environment. There's no real money in these trades, but the paperMoney platform does an excellent job of tracking how the trades do, whether they're profitable or unprofitable. It allows the trader to follow their overall performance on individual securities. We can also see how we're doing year to date down here, and in the upper left, we can see the total value of the portfolio of the account that we've selected. So for example, this IRA, where I'm placing these trades, has a total value of $286,000 right now, with about $190,000 included in that that's cash. All right. So I know that a lot of you are going to have more refined questions about, why did you choose that strike? Why didn't you go somewhere else? This is actually not a strategy discussion, more of a platform demonstration. So appreciate the questions. If you do have questions, though, I definitely have a suggestion for you. Maybe this isn't the series for you if you're learning strategy. We have strategy-oriented webcasts. So two suggestions that I have for everyone. And that is, it's sort of to point out the fact that these webcasts are not your only resource. Yes, the webcasts are a fabulous resource, and a great way to keep tabs on these webcasts is to make sure that you have subscribed to our Trader Talks channel on YouTube. So go to YouTube after today's webcast is over. Go to find us there on YouTube. Just look for Trader Talks. You'll know you have the right one if it says Schwab Coaching Webcast, and you can click on subscribe. Of course, just as you're watching the webcast, you can also just go right down below my little webcast video window. There's a little black subscribe button. Click that subscribe button. That'll have you subscribe to our channel, and that allows you to follow along with our live streams. You can also find our playlists for this series, for getting started with Thinkorswim, but also let me just show you a couple of others that I might suggest that I teach every week. Let me scroll down through here. Let's say you are learning option strategies and you want to use that education and then go put it to practice on our paperMoney platform. Well, you might want to find me in my Managing an Options Portfolio series. So as we scroll down a little bit, you'll see my face. There's a big hint. Managing an Options Portfolio. Right there, you can see the full playlist of my previous webcasts in the series. And also, let's say you want to learn more about the charts. Cameron, how did you decide where to draw those lines? How did you draw those lines? When might a trader decide to get into or out of a stock or an option using charts? Well, that's known as technical analysis. And I have a webcast series called Getting Started with Technical Analysis. So we just scroll down toward the bottom, you're going to see actually, here's our Getting Started with Thinkorswim series, if you wanted to see that. Our Getting Started with Technical Analysis is, there it is, right there. Face, look for the face. You can view the full playlist right there. All right, so make sure you've subscribed to the channel. Also, do a favor for Ken and for me and for yourselves, and that is follow us on X. As I said at the outset of this discussion, it's the very best place. X, the best place to find me in between live streams, okay? So go to X, also twitter.com is what it's known as, and you just track Ken and me down. So Ken can be found at Ken Rose CS, I'm at Cameron May CS, and there you might see, in my feed, you can see observations about what's happening with the markets. I'll frequently be asking for your input. I conduct polls here. I tell you what's happening over on my weekend. It's just a great place to connect with your favorite instructors. So make sure that you're following us there. And for everything that I've shown you, downloading Thinkorswim, if you have a Schwab account, doesn't cost anything. If following me on X doesn't cost you anything. Subscribing to our YouTube channel doesn't cost anything. They're great resources. We just try to provide them, make them available for someone who's just at the front end of their learning curve, or maybe they're a more advanced trader. We have other offerings for that as well. So hope you enjoyed this discussion. This is what we do on Mondays. I'd love to see you again next Monday, but it is time for me to let you loose. Everybody, thanks for giving me your time today. As you go, once again, just remember risk is real. So paperMoney can be a great resource for that new trader just trying to learn in a no-risk environment, okay? But I'll look for you in a future webcast. I'll also look for you on X. But hey, whenever I see you again, until that moment arrives, I want to wish you the very best of luck. Happy trading. Bye-bye.